The following is a paid program by the Whitley Law Firm. Welcome to Attorneys on Call, the program that gives you free legal information from the Whitley Law Firm. Now, here's your host, Drew Smith.
And welcome. We are so happy you're here today for this edition of Attorneys on Call. It is something that we don't like to think about, but we have to think about this because many of us get into an automobile accident and some of us are seriously hurt. Think about what would happen to you or a loved one if, let's say, somebody crossed the center line and smashed into the vehicle that you were driving, just simply minding your own business. What would happen? You go to the hospital. What are you going to be facing now? What kind of medical bills are going to be stacking up? What are you going to do about the insurance companies that are calling you? That's why we're here today, because we're going to be talking to a very special guest in the next segment that will share with us her dramatic story of what happened and why she hired the Whitley Law Firm to help her through that ordeal. And so that's why we're here for the next 30 minutes. Also, at any time, you can call the 800 number on your screen to ask a question. You'll get a call back from one of the attorneys from the Whitley Law Firm, or simply go to the website, whitleylawfirm.com. That is a great first place to go to get information. So you or a loved one may have been seriously injured in an automobile accident. We're going to answer a lot of questions that you may have during the next half hour. Thanks so much for joining us. And in studio with us, Bob Whitley and Ben Whitley of the Whitley Law Firm. Guys, it's always great to be with you.
Drew, it's nice to be here.
Good to be here, Drew.
Gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about what you do in your law practice and how you represent people like the guest that we're going to have today who was seriously injured in an automobile accident.
Well, Drew, I've been doing it a long time. And, you know, unfortunately, the people we represent have gone through something bad. Nobody anticipates or expects that when they leave home that day or on their way back home, that they're going to end up spending that night and maybe a few others in a hospital because they were injured in a bad wreck. And, you know, Sheila has become one of my favorite clients. I even consider her a friend. And I think you'll see why. She's kind of a soft-spoken lady. Mm-hmm. But she was minding her own business and, you know, and like so many of our clients, living kind of paycheck to paycheck, and then all of a sudden, boom, her life got changed. But she has persevered. She's not a complainer, and she didn't let this accident define her life, and she's back at work and has overcome a lot of disabilities that her doctor didn't really think she would be able to. So I think she deserves a whole lot of credit. But she, like all the rest of our clients, you know, are faced with and they're faced with it kind of on an uneven playing field because they don't know how adamant that insurance company is going to be about not paying what they should pay, and it's business to that insurance company, but it's not business to the injured person. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a life-altering event.
Ben, when someone is seriously injured like this and they contact the Whitley Law Firm, I know that's a very important time, especially for that client. What is it like for them to initially place that call and they're looking for advice on what do I do?
Well, a lot of folks in this situation are scared. They don't know what to do. They're scared, especially if they don't have health insurance and they're in a hospital and they know that they've got catastrophic injuries, life-changing injuries and permanent injuries, and they don't know how those medical bills are going to get paid, you know? And they're scared and they need answers and they need to know that somebody's there and is going to look out for them. And that's what we do. And in Sheila's case, I actually met with her in the hospital and talked with her about the situation not soon after it happened. Because in my experience, people really want to be able to get some answers to their questions and they want to talk to somebody about it. And, you know, we can't assure them that everything's going to be okay, but what we can assure them is that we're going to fight real hard to make sure that they get everything that they're entitled to under the law.
So tell me a little bit more about that first meeting with Sheila in the hospital. I mean, she's seriously injured, but you're there. Tell me about what that interaction was like.
Well, it was, first of all, you know, making sure to get through the hospital before there are any alarms that go off that there's an attorney in the building. And I was able to do that. And so I met with her, and it's a lot of times it's soon after an accident. And, you know, the most important thing that anybody's really thinking about after something that bad happens is their health. And obviously that's the most important. But what's tricky in these bad accidents is that the insurance company is not going to waste any time in trying to find excuses not to pay.
Okay.
They're going to send people out to look at a wreck scene. They're going to get on the phone with the police officer and the witnesses very soon. And we can't do that until our clients hire us.
Oh, sure.
Okay?
Right.
So the insurance company can do it a minute after the accident happens. They won't technically do it a minute after. They can do it. I've seen in cases they've done it hours after an accident happens. Whereas we can't do that until a client decides, you're my lawyer. So that's why even when it's when your health is the most important critical issue that's going on, it is important to get a lawyer involved early, especially in a very serious case, so that we can jump in there and start making those phone calls, having our investigators talk to those witnesses while everything is still fresh on the mind. So these police officers, they're investigating hundreds of accidents in a month. And a lot of times they'll, it all kind of meshes together.
Yep.
So what we want to do is we want to talk to them while it's fresh in their mind, because they have some important facts that might be useful for us. And so that's why meeting with Sheila in the hospital, she was smart to get an attorney involved even while she's still thinking about what's going on with her health, because she knew that it needed to be looked at immediately.
Bob, Ben, I think you need to point out that you went to the hospital in response to a call. You weren't just hanging out in the emergency room.
I was not hanging out in the emergency. Her family, I believe that she'll talk about this, but her family members researched us and went through to find out. We have online what they call Google reviews, and I do it when I look for services too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You want to read. You want to read what people have to say.
Right.
You want to read what prior clients have to say. And I believe we'll let her talk about that, but her family member looked and read reviews from our prior clients and called us and asked that we come and meet with them.
Bob, you said Sheila's one of your favorite clients and you consider her a friend. Well, tell us a little bit more, tell our viewers more about Sheila, and we'll get to meet her, but tell us more.
Well, I think what impressed me the most about her was just her determination to make the best of a bad situation. And she drove her car before her doctor wanted her to. She went back to work probably before her doctor wanted her to. And they're the kind of things I like. Now, she is younger than I am, but she's more of a contemporary of mine than many of my clients. So I just kind of, and she's got, I hope it'll come out, but she's got kind of a dry sense of humor.
Okay.
And that I think that appeals to me too. But she's a fine lady, and it's been a privilege to help her.
Well, we are going to meet her right after this short break we're going to take here on Attorneys on Call. You're going to meet Sheila and learn more about her story and how she got involved with the Whitley Law Firm. You're watching Attorneys on Call.